They are sisters on a mission to improve our memories with their new book, 7-Day Brain Boost Plan from the Memory Foundation. Welcome educator Gillian Eadie and internationally respected memory researcher Dr. Allison Lamont. Good morning.
Good morning.
It's a privilege to have you guys here. You have a really good reason to have kicked this off and to become so involved and interested in it. Tell me about your mum.
Well, yes, we have, because it used to be thought that the brain couldn't change at all, but now we know that it has an amazing potential to change right up to the end of life. So Gillian and I combined our skills to create practical ways to bring about brain and memory health. And then our own mother was diagnosed with Alzheimer's. And from that came the Memory Foundation, because we became very determined that everybody should know that we can make a difference to sharpening and improving our memory, whatever our age.
So it's never too late to start something like this?
It's never too late, no.
Okay.
No.
How normal is it to start experiencing some type of memory loss as you age?
Well, it's quite normal because it used to be thought that we lost all of our brain cells as we got older. But actually, that's not true, and neuroscience has blown all those old myths out of the water in the past 10 or 12 years. Well, we have 100 billion brain cells, you know, every single one of us, and we do lose a few, but as long as we're challenging our brain, then we can grow new ones and new brain connections right through, as Allison says, to the end of life.
Wow, that's very cool. I want to know how normal it is for a 42-year-old woman to rely solely on the diary on my phone for anything to get done. Like, I just don't seem to be able to remember to do anything unless it's written down and reminding me.
A lot of people come into the clinic and they talk about having brain overload, and they'll say things like, it feels as if the hard drive up here is full.
Exploding.
Because of busyness and just so much going on. And closely allied to that is baby brain, which is hormonally produced. And both of these things will be made worse if you're not sleeping well.
Okay.
So it's really good to just give yourself permission not to remember absolutely everything, and permission to say no to unreasonable demands, and taking a deep breath to step away from that rising tide of worry and anxiety that you're not remembering well right now. And you're doing the right thing because it's using organisers, writing things down, reducing the number of things that we expect to remember off the top of your head. And keep a sense of humour too.
So we'll go through some of the tips and things that we can all do. I mean, I know in my job I'm meeting different people, new and different people every day. What is a good way? I saw on Ellen DeGeneres show recently that she had a wee moment when, in the very early days when she first met Katy Perry, and she totally forgot her name. How do I go about remembering people's names better? How does anybody go about remembering somebody's name?
Well, there's a process, because to remember anything that's into your long-term memory takes about 7 seconds. And hardly any of us ever give ourselves 7 seconds to remember something.
No, because if you do meet somebody, you're introduced to them and then you're into the conversation, aren't you? You haven't spent 7 seconds remembering that person's name.
You have to take control of that because, you know, really you need time to look at the person's face and find out a little bit more about that person, and somehow in your brain connect with something you know. Think, does this person look like someone I know? Or does that name begin with a G or a J? So you're beginning to make some memory traces that your brain thinks, oh, she wants me to remember this. So you've actually made some memory traces that will lodge in the long-term memory.
Because I read in here that the brain is designed to forget.
It is indeed, because with information coming through all of our senses all of the time, we would go into overload in fractions of a second.
True.
And so the brain filters out very cleverly everything we don't need. So we have to prompt it to remember the things that we want to have later on.
All right, so that's one of them, the 7-second rule. I've got a few things down here I wanted to go through. Doing tasks with your non-dominant hand. So I'm a right-hander, doing something with my left?
It really works. And for instance, if you have trouble misplacing car keys, for instance, if you have them in your non-dominant hand and cross it over the body to put them down, the brain starts saying, oh, this is different, because the problem is that things we do automatically don't register in the brain at all. And so we put them down saying very clearly to ourselves, I've put my keys by the fruit bowl. And we might even repeat it like a little ditty or take a little mental photograph of the keys there. Okay. And that way we've put in 4 or 5 memory traces that we can go back to and recall. It really works.
That might be similar to, I remember somebody telling me once, I used to have the problem with turning off my curling tong at home. I'd get halfway down the street and literally drive back. Often it was off. And they told me to tap it with my hand. Like when I turned it off, tap it and make an actual action. And then that's one way
and you'd actually cancelled the fact you'd actually reminded yourself that it needed to be done.
Exactly. Apparently we spend 5 years of our life, no, 5 days a year looking for lost things. 5 whole days a year.
That's true. Absolutely true.
That's insane. Closing our eyes, eliminating distraction. I guess for young kids, well, for kids at school, turning off music when they're doing homework, things like that. Good way to retain, well, better way to retain.
Gillian,
it works sometimes. Some people actually, if their brain rhythms are in tune with the music, it actually helps.
Okay.
But you don't usually find that with very heavy rock music, for instance. It's something that's soothing, that will aid memory retention.
All right.
But generally, removing distractions is a big help.
Well, the wonderful thing is that all of those things that we've talked about and a heck of a lot more are all in the book. It's a 7-day brain boost plan. You reckon at the end of it, we'll all be better for it.
Setting up the habits is important.
Yes. But I guess, you know, if you don't use it, you lose it. So it's all about keeping it active. And so much more info in here, exercise, diet, you name it.
All of that is in there.
And there's a free brain tune as well that's on our website if people would like to try that.
You're so super clever. Thank you for coming by.
Thank you very much.
It's lovely to see you.
To win a copy of the 7-day Brain Boost Plan or to take the Memory Foundation's free Brain Tune mini course, you can head to our website for all the links. Coming up, he's played some of NZ's darkest villains. Mark Mitchinson is on the couch right after this.